everybody. Hope everybody is keeping really well. This video, I want to talk about the whole dark chocolate clickbait stuff that's going around the last while and what you really need to know about dark chocolate. So a couple of weeks ago, I was getting my nails done, and the girl that does my nails, we were just having conversation, and I mentioned dark chocolate, and she said, "Oh no, but what about all these new studies, and it's all over the news, and dark chocolate is so bad for you, and we thought it was good for you. It's got lead and cadmium and all of this stuff." So I kind of explained to her, well, how that works, and I hadn't came across the study at the time because I have loads to do, but I had heard it somewhere else. I can't remember. I think one of my clients kind of brought it up and mentioned it to me. So I thought nothing of it and kind of moved on. And then over the last few weeks, this notion that dark chocolate is so bad for you keeps popping up everywhere, which is insane. So I'm hoping to clarify things with you after I fix my camera and help you really understand this idea here. There's a lot of these kind of clicky bait videos going around. I addressed two a couple of weeks ago about water and mineral water and leaching out of bottles. Like, it's kind of just insane. So now we're hearing people saying that dark chocolate is not the superfood it's touted to be, and it's full of toxins. So I really wanted to clarify why this amazing food is still amazing. And I regularly get sent silly TikTok posts and videos with clickbait titles and suck you in theories, and oh my god, I thought this was good and now it's so bad. And most of the time I'm like, just ignore it. And sometimes I won't even get into conversations, like, just ignore it. And so dark chocolate, as many of us know, or cacao, has been considered a health food for a long time. Now, not so much the generic conventional dark chocolate that you'd find in many grocery stores, but like really good quality, high grade chocolate. I generally recommend you're looking for organic, 80 to 100% dark chocolate from a reputable business that actually cares about your health and the quality and the sourcing of their products. And they're even sourcing from some of the cleanest places on earth. And I have certain brands that I like. I'll mention them maybe towards the end. I have specific ones that I only consume myself. But that's not the point. The point is you need to understand the ideas behind nutrition and the body and how it works. And that's pretty much what I do. I kind of help people understand, well, this interacts in your body this way, and your body does this, and this is how this works. So then you can kind of step back and not stop maybe consuming a food that potentially is doing you a lot of good just because you saw a stupid clickbait video on TikTok. And now that I'm thinking of it, like, some of these I get sent and they're from so-called doctors and health professionals, and I'm like, what? Why would you make a video that's clickbait too? And if you're so professional and you know what you're doing, then why are you saying something stupid when you clearly don't understand how it works in the body? And not that I know everything, and I'm not trying to come across self-righteous, but it annoys me because stuff like this can do harm, it can do damage. So moving on, I've been talking about and recommending dark chocolate for as long as I can remember. I'm in the health industry for so long now, it seems like forever. It's like 15 years. And I've been talking about its benefits, which are supported by hundreds of studies and research articles. So this research, these sources are not frivolous, and they need to be considered along with how the body works. So more towards the end of the video, I'm going to go into this kind of topic, lead cadmium research, and kind of the negatives that people are talking about right now. But before that, I want to remind you of the pros of consuming a high-grade dark chocolate regularly, because dark chocolate is something that People can implement it into their diets easily and reap the rewards fast. We'll look at some of the studies and I'll put them in the description for you to take a look at. But the polyphenols alone in dark chocolate have been shown to be immensely helpful for the microbiome and IBD, or irritable bowel disease. And I can personally attest to that. I've spoken about how I have diverticulosis, and I really feel when I have the dark chocolate, especially if I'm getting some sort of a flare up, that the dark chocolate I consume really helps. It helps in the microbiome, but also our microbiome, or our gut, all of it's directly connected to our brain, and there's research out there showing dark chocolate can help with mood disorders and anxiety. So the whole body is intertwined. If you can take in a food or something that's going to be beneficial in one area, you can be sure that it's going to have a ripple effect into the other areas of the body. There's EGCG in dark chocolate, which is also in green tea, as most people know. And this is a plant compound that elicits a hormetic response, which is good. We want some sort of hormetic response in the body every once in a while. That helps upregulate your own antioxidants and defense system, so that then they're expressed and strengthened at a higher rate. This hormetic stress it's a good stress, and it can help then your liver upregulate its production of glutathione, you're a master antioxidant. It can help upregulate the NRF2 pathways, helping with detoxification and immunity, and superoxide dismutase, which are very important enzymes for immunity and detoxification and being resilient. So this hormetic stress is great, and it can be elicited through this molecule, EGCG. This molecule has been shown to help brain cells grow, kill cancer cells, and it's also really good for the skin by helping to prevent skin collagen from breaking down. I always get asked about my skin and how I take care of my skin, especially loose skin after losing all the weight. I've always said, like, green tea is a go-to for me. I swear green tea has made a world of a difference in maintaining youthful skin, but also keeps my skin pretty clear. Unless I touch my face a lot around PMS, then I will break out. But otherwise, I think my skin is pretty good, and I've always said I think green tea plays a part in that. So there's so many benefits to dark chocolate, not just those that I've mentioned. There was a randomized control trial that found eating 100 grams of chocolate, dark chocolate, for 12 weeks had differential effects on weight, circumference, hunger, metabolism, fasting glucose, and microbiome. And that was dependent on whether the chocolate was consumed in the morning or the evening. Most of my followers kind of know that I'm not big for eating dark chocolate in the evening because it's so high in caffeine. Most people, especially the people I talk to, have sleep issues, and I don't want to be messing around them with caffeine if that's the case. But morning chocolate was shown to reduce waist circumference and spontaneously reduce participants' daily energy intake by 16% compared to no chocolate. So they reduced the amount they were eating overall by 16%, helping, of course, with weight loss, because as much as people don't like to hear it, calories do play a part when you're trying to lose weight. Evening chocolate had no effect on waist circumference and slightly reduced energy intake, which I would expect. Eating late, if fat loss is your goal, eating late's not the way to go about it. Then fasting blood sugar was also differentially affected by the timing of chocolate intake. Morning chocolate decreased fasting glucose by 4.4% compared to no chocolate, which is a pretty good kind of counterparty to compare against, while evening chocolate increased fasting glucose levels by 4.9% compared to morning. Again, reiterating why we don't want to be eating in the evening. I mean, there's so much research and antidotes and everything out there showing like eating in the evening is not going to play in your favor. Anyway, then it also showed the microbiome composition was different depending on whether chocolate was consumed in the morning versus the evening, which makes sense since the bacteria in our gut, they're also on a circadian rhythm, and different species are active at different times of the day. So far, we're seeing dark chocolate in the morning has a heap of benefits. So there was another pilot study that suggests eating dark chocolate could help boost athletic performance. Dark chocolate, 40 grams per day for 14 days, increased endurance performance by 17% compared to eating white chocolate, and 11% over baseline. The dark chocolate reduced the amount of oxygen used when cycling during a 2-minute sprint. Then there was another one. I shared this a while ago because I had a client who had respiratory infection. Dark chocolate and the theobromine therein is better at suppressing the urge to cough than codeine. And I will share that study, but it was titled, "A study of 163 people showed that patients saw improvements in 2 days with a cacao medicine." And then the study is, if you want to do a quick search, it's ROCOCO. Pretty simple. So there's a lot. I'm going to keep going on. Dark chocolate shown to increase mitochondria biogenesis, which is the formation of more mitochondria. So if you've been following me for a while, you know what the mitochondria are, hopefully. One of the top complaints I get when I start talking to people or do consultations, or even just comments on Facebook posts, the common trend is people are tired, they feel fatigued, they don't have enough energy, even the hormone issues. And I always say, first you need to remember, it is your mitochondria that make your energy. The end. If your mitochondria are not working, then you're going to have issues with fatigue and energy production and pretty much feeling lousy. So your mitochondria, your energy powerhouses within each cell, and there's a couple in each cell. Some cells more than others, some people more than others, depending on like your health, the amount of muscle you have, and so on and so on. But your mitochondria make your energy. So if you're fatigued and lethargic and just don't have energy for life or low motivation, even hormone issues, because hormones and mitochondria crosstalk, that is mitochondrial dysfunction. So in this, we see dark chocolate is shown to increase mitochondria biogenesis. So more mitochondria means you have more energy production capacity. This study gave 17 seniors 2 squares of dark chocolate every day or a placebo. At the end of the study, the dark chocolate group had significantly higher levels of PGC1A, PGC1 alpha, which is what drives mitochondria biogenesis, and they had increased levels of AMPK, which I've spoke a lot about AMPK. I have a couple of posts in my biohacking library group on it, which is a signaling factor for metabolism and fat burning. So basically, the research shows that the epicatechins, which are those EGCG, antioxidant flavonoids in dark chocolate, was improving mitochondria function and numbers. This is also very important to understand for people that have autoimmunity issues. You need your mitochondria to be on point. If the mitochondria are not on point, you are going to have inflammatory issues. So mitochondria, making sure you've got the correct nutrition is more than what people think. So then most of my clients are versed in sirtuin foods and how sirtuin foods stimulates specific genetic expressions through sirtuin proteins on our genes. So dark chocolate is one of those positive sirtuin foods that can elicit amazing ripple effects throughout our genes and the expressions that we want them to have. Already mentioned the anti-cancer thing. There's the microbiome implications, especially when it comes to weight loss. There's a lot of research showing that the microbiome is directly implicated in whether or not you're going to lose weight easily and keep it off in the long term as well. These polyphenols really, really important. So it is our sirtuin food, and not just the weight loss. We've got the cancer, we've got loads of stuff. I have a whole podcast episode on what sirtuin foods are. You can find that if you search Find Your Model Health on your favorite podcast player. So then we also have dark chocolate, which also helps with, like I said, I feel an immense difference when I use it with anytime I diverticulosis. I even have an inkling of it. Helps with cognitive performance as well. The caffeine in dark chocolate can be beneficial for metabolism, but also not only that, we see that dark chocolate is helpful with blood pressure. When adults with high blood pressure took cacao flavonoid capsules for 8 consecutive days, their systolic blood pressure dropped and their pulse wave velocity decreased. And the greatest effects occurred in the first 3 hours after consuming the cacao, with the blood pressure dropping approximately 5 hemoglobin milligrams. Blood pressure dropped again at approximately 8 hours after consuming the cacao. Now, this comes back to these polyphenols, these flavonoids, these catechins. These all exhibit some of the highest concentrations of anti-inflammatory effects, polyphenolic effects on the microbiome, genetic expression, all this stuff. You don't want it processed though, because processing induces these flavonoids to be lost by up to 60% or more. So you're always trying to look for these high grade, good quality, single estate sourced, if you can, kind of like your coffee when you're choosing a dark chocolate. We also see that with dark chocolate, we have improved endothelial function, which is helping with vascular function, can help with peripheral artery disease, can help with mental stress. There was one in a crossover intervention study involving healthy young males. Participants consumed a cacao beverage prepared with either high or low flavanol cacao powder dissolved in water before taking the test that promoted mental stress. Participants' vascular function in their brain improved after consuming the high flavanol beverage, and the improvement was maintained even at 90 minutes after the stress. Then we have when healthy young adults consumed cacao. And I know a lot of you actually have teenagers that are studying and in university now, because you ask me for advice all the time. Even a couple of you asking me for advice on how can I boost my cognitive performance and brain health and all this. Dark chocolate, coffee, these are easy ones. So when healthy young adults consumed cacao that contained L-theanine, which is an amino acid which is also found in pea and mushrooms, their diastolic and systolic pressure decreased. In addition, their brain activity related to arousal increased, but brain activity related to brain deactivation decreased. All great stuff here. There's so many reasons you should consume dark chocolate, and I'm going to move on here to, I suppose, the point at hand. Now, dark chocolate, most people don't know, okay, dark chocolate, caffeine, polyphenols, antioxidants, it's good for me. Dark chocolate has a lot more than that in it. Dark chocolate also has a lot of minerals. You will get the best bang for your buck with dark chocolate. You've got zinc, you've got manganese, you've got magnesium, we've got some potassium, we've got zinc, you've even got protein in dark chocolate. You've got some iron, got copper. Did I say copper? Now, copper is one that most people don't pay attention to, and they really should, especially if they feel they have iron deficiencies. A lot of so-called iron deficiencies are not in fact iron deficiencies, they're copper deficiencies. So you need, and there's mountains of research by a guy called Morley Robbins. You need copper to help your body metabolize iron. So most people are low in copper, and you also need retinol and vitamin A, and even D to help copper do its job. But copper deficiencies are the main cause of low iron, and this reflection of low iron on a test. And then this influences your mitochondria health and your energy production. And what's rich in copper? Well, it's dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is one of the best sources of copper, which can make a huge difference, not just to mitochondria, like I mentioned, in the metabolism, but these blood markers that people think are off. And it really does all come back to nutrition, and you're going to see that now. So dark chocolate is very rich in minerals. And like I mentioned at the start of the video, it's something that's really easy for people to implement and bring into their diet. Just a couple of squares in the morning and you're going to start reaping all of these rewards. So just hold that there, the mineral aspect. And we're going to move on. So this brings us to what's been going around online over the last few weeks. And now I've only touched the tip of the iceberg around dark chocolate. All you have to do is go to PubMed and you're going to see mountains. Green Med Info is a great source. Anything by Dr. Mercola is also great. Morley Robbins, like I mentioned. I've only tipped the iceberg. But what's been going around for the last couple of months is this research that came out. Basically, it was a 2022 Consumer Report analysis of widely available cacao or dark chocolate and chocolate products, which revealed that most of the products tested contained quantities of heavy metals that exceeded acceptable Californian Proposition 65 limits, but the heavy metal concentrations varied across brands, with some brands showing lesser or greater amounts. And really what they were looking at was cadmium and lead. A lot of the brands, several of the brands I recommend and my clients eat, they weren't tested. That's not to say they don't have lead and cadmium, but they weren't tested. And then there was a couple that I recognized and said, oh yeah, I have a couple of clients that consume these. Am I concerned? No, and I'll tell you why. Heavy metals are ubiquitous. Like, they're naturally occurring elements everywhere. It's very, very hard to avoid heavy metals. They're present in most of our foods, not just dark chocolate. Like, if you're going to scream and cry about dark chocolate and lead and cadmium, then maybe you should just fast forever, because lead and cadmium isn't stuff you touch, it's in what you breathe. Like, it's everywhere. And yes, there are side effects to having high levels of lead and cadmium, like lower intelligence in children and infertility in adults, as well as other health concerns. But there's a caveat. We're going to get into that. Whether the quantity of heavy metals found in a serving of dark chocolate is cause for concern, in my opinion, no, but we're going to get to the caveat. Obviously, elimination of certain heavy metals from the body is important, and that brings me to the next part. Those elimination and detoxification and displacement of heavy metals, they're enhanced and influenced by nutrition and lifestyle. When we think of lifestyle, exercise enhances detoxification of heavy metals. Sweating enhances, sauna use enhances detoxification of heavy metals. But when we look at the nutrition aspect, it's important to understand that heavy metals are minerals. And while minerals exist inside of you, heavy metals are also a part of that system. When you become lower in minerals, heavy metals can then substitute in your body for those minerals. This is called ionic or molecular mimicry. Basically, if you have lower levels of minerals in your body, due to whatever reason, usually diet for most people, then heavy metals can come in and attach to the receptors and work in place of the minerals. And this also works vice versa with higher levels of minerals in the body. Higher levels of minerals can displace heavy metals and help them be detoxified from the body. Because basically, the minerals and the heavy metals, they're the same. They look the same, they're the same size. Heavy metals are minerals. Minerals are heavy metals. They're all part on the periodic table of the metals group. They look the same, they're approximately the same size, they attach to the same receptors. So if you have lower levels of minerals in your body due to your diet and your lifestyle and not eating mineral rich foods or drinking mineral rich fluids regularly, maybe you've got a lot of stress, maybe you don't exercise, then yes, there is a chance for a higher accumulation of heavy metals in your body. And then if you do have higher minerals from, say, dark chocolate, mineral water, sea salt, red meat, your fruit and vegetables, then those minerals can then displace these heavy metals and help them be detoxified from the body. And this is pretty much what I was saying in the video I did a couple of weeks ago about I think it was lead in water. I can't remember. It's on my YouTube channel. Check it out. But it's the same idea. So mineral deficiencies and imbalances, they're going to make you much more predisposed to accumulating heavy metals. And at that stage, yeah, it is a problem. Like the ionic radii, or the size of magnesium, iron, and aluminum, is very similar. So aluminum can replace iron and magnesium easily when iron and magnesium are low or deficient. So most people who are consuming like a really good dark chocolate, they generally have a healthier diet and lifestyle. So for any amount, trace amounts of lead and cadmium being potentially in their dark chocolate, I don't think it's a concern, because the minerals alone in that dark chocolate are going to help displace these heavy metals and not allow them attached to the receptors. Most people who have terrible diets and lifestyle, they're mineral deficient. Most people are mineral deficient. I think like where we get lost in translation is people think of, I need good nutrition to be healthy and lose weight, but it's so much more. Like your DNA is made up of minerals. You need minerals for enzymes to work, for neuroconnectivity, for plasticity in the brain. You need minerals for all of this. And most people are not biochemists or nutritional therapists or anything that they would understand, but there's definitely some loss here in translation that if you have good nutrition and your lifestyle is good and you're exercising regularly and you're drinking a lot of clean water and you're making sure you're on top of your mineral and nutrient requirements, then even if there is some lead and cadmium in the couple of squares of dark chocolate you're having, it's almost irrelevant, because those minerals in your diet and your body's flooded with good nutrients and minerals. There's no room for these heavy metals to attach. Now, I'm not saying that all healthy people don't have some heavy metal accumulation in their body. We all do. It's just the environment we have. But there's less chances. There's lower levels of accumulation. The more minerals, the better your diet is, the better your lifestyle is, the easier you can displace these heavy metals and detoxify or eliminate them from your body. The worse your diet is, the worse your lifestyle is, you're probably not eating a good dark chocolate in any way. So there's that. But I mean, you have bigger problems at that stage than some lead or cadmium in your dark chocolate. So you can see there's a lot to be considered here. I'm definitely not going to be recommending my clients don't eat dark chocolate. And there's more to dark chocolate. We've got the whole oxalates topic, which I may do a podcast on that soon. That's for select people right now in my group. So, um, like, there is a lot to be considered with nutrition. But as far as the whole dark chocolate, clickbait, conspiracy, they're trying to kill us through our superfoods idea goes, no. Like, the pros way outweigh the cons. And again, the minerals in the dark chocolate, they pretty much offset the heavy metals. If you've got a good diet and lifestyle and you are investing in good, I don't want to say organic because I know some of the brands that they tested were organic, but one of the brands I like is Zazu Bean here in Canada. They did not test that. Zazu